Well, welcome everybody. It's Sherman Ray. This is the Livin in Vegas podcast. We come to you Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Talk to you about the people, places, and trends, and the events that shape the city of Las Vegas. When you think of living in Vegas, folks think living local and the return of cool. And today is the day after the midterm elections. So today's show is actually going to be all about the midterm elections because I know so many of you are just got into it as I did. I mean, I really did. It was a pretty amazing night. I stayed up all night long to watch the results until I just couldn't stay awake anymore and just fell asleep. So we're going to talk about the midterms and we're going to talk about some other cool things that have been going on in Vegas. Really not much more has happened in Vegas, to tell you the truth. This has been the midterms have been probably the most everybody's fixated on. Just fix it. I am one of those folks, so I'm with you. Don't worry about it. I am with you. So it is what it is. Before we go any further, if you are watching us on YouTube, Facebook, I want you to go over on this side right here. Smash that little subscribe button. Be sure to subscribe to our channel, and so you can keep up with all of the cool stuff that we're doing here. Living in Vegas. As a matter of fact, beginning of the year, we're going to make some new announcements about some things that are going to be coming up. So you'll want to be in the know on that. And you can't be if you don't get updated on the show. If you're watching us on Facebook, we will actually be talking a lot about the show. So if you've got to ring in on this, definitely do. We welcome that. Yeah, we welcome you. Getting involved in that stuff. We will be talking to people on our group page. So if you're on our group page, that's where we'll be doing our chat. So that's the page you want to be a part of. And I just opened up that. So if you want to get in on the chat, live chat about the midterm elections, go to our Facebook page, our group page called Livin in Vegas, and you can be in on the live chat. Okay. So let's do this really quick, folks. Let's pay a bill real quick, and then we are going to, we'll be back with more of the Livin in Vegas podcast. Sherman Ray, we'll be back in just a second. Hi, everybody. It's Sherman Ray for Livin in Vegas podcast. Are you a business owner that's looking to get the word out about his product, service, or even just a great message out there? Well, we'd like to give you that opportunity by being a guest on Livin in Vegas podcast. It's super simple. All you got to do is contact us at advertising@livininvegas.com. That's advertising@livininvegas.com, and we'll schedule you for an interview on Livin in Vegas podcast. I'm Sherman Ray for Livin in Vegas podcast, where we talk about the people, the places, the trends, and the events that shape the city of Las Vegas. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. All right, we're back, folks. This is Sherman Ray. This is Livin in Vegas podcast, where we talk about the people, places, trends, events, that kind of stuff. If it's got to do with Vegas, that's what we talk about all the time. We're like the cheerleaders of Las Vegas. And yesterday, as was with most of the nation, there was actually an election yesterday. And hopefully you guys got out there to vote. I did. My wife and I got out there. Here in the Vegas Valley, the weather was just bad. It was just, we call it inclement weather or inclement or something like that. Inclement, which means it was just terrible. Raining, blowing. If it was bad, it was here in Vegas yesterday. It was snowing, sleeting, hailing, anything it could do to just here in Las Vegas. Nowhere else in the world, just here. And so when it came time to go out and vote, the wife and I, we saw, and our voting place is over off of Rainbow. So we're off of Rainbow and the Lake Mead area. So Rainbow Lake Mead, something like that. And so we saw about, 1,000 people going out to vote at 5:15-ish, 5:30-ish. And I went, oh no. We're not standing on this line. There's no way. So what you could do, and many of you probably exercised this right also, is you actually had your mail-in ballots, and you just filled out the ballot as you normally would, and then you just folded it, signed the back, print your name, sign the back, walked up to the front of the line where everybody's looking at you going, well, where are you going? I'm going, well, while you guys are waiting in line to vote in the machine, I've got a mail-in ballot, and instead of me dropping it in the mailbox where it would never see the light of day again, we walked up to the front of the line. The same lady that was there last year when I voted, 2020, 2 years ago, is the same lady that was there again. And she goes, hi, how are you doing? I said, hi, how are you doing? Walked to the front of the line. She looked at my ballot to make sure it was signed and put my wife's in. I put mine. That was it. Took me all of 2 minutes. That was it. I know people that were standing in line for literally hour and a half, 2 hours, something like that. And, I just, no. So we're going to talk, so that was my experience in voting. I know a lot of people were out there, and some lady came out there with shorts on. Shorts. Can you believe that? Yeah. Just simply crazy. And then when she got there, she goes, oh my gosh, I think I made a mistake, but now I'm not going home. Like, you're going to stand here for like an hour in the cold? I think you probably should go home. I just want to hold your place. Get some pants on. So our voting, the way it goes here in Las Vegas, is that when the primary on the day of elections, the general election, if you are in line, they have to take you. So they have to take you when the polls close at 7 o'clock here in Las Vegas. They have to take you in, and then we do not start counting any of our votes, don't start giving any totals until the last person in all of the state of Nevada votes. That's why yesterday, literally, we did not start getting the totals in until 10:30ish, something like that. It was pretty late, and that's when we first started getting our vote totals in. And all across the rest of the world, they already were calling races, they already knew who won, blah, blah, blah. But here, we weren't going to do that. So, so by the time I went to bed last night, which was a little after 11 o'clock, I already knew some of the vote totals by then, but they had changed considerably by the morning. So we're going to talk about that in just a second. But let's talk a little bit about some of the races that were yesterday. We actually had races for our governor's office between Joe Lombardo and Steve Sisolak. We had a lieutenant governor race with Stavros Anthony was in that race. Secretary of State, Senate races, congressional races, and then state Senate Assembly down to regions. To school board, that kind of stuff. So we had the gambit of people who were running for office. And historically, for Las Vegas and the state of Nevada, most of the people who vote in the state of Nevada are in Clark County, which is the southern part of Nevada where Las Vegas is located at, Boulder City, Henderson, North Las Vegas. That kind of stuff. So most of the people are located down in the southern part of the state. Then you have Washoe County, which is in the northern part of the state. You have Reno, that area up there, and which is it's a smattering of people. The vast majority of the people in the state of Nevada are actually Republicans, but the vast majority of people who vote are in the southern part of the state, which is democratically controlled, basically. And so that's in Clark County. So the battle right now is between Washoe County and southern Nevada, where Clark County is at. And so that's where everybody's really focusing all of their attention. So many of you probably know about this already, that the balance of power within the federal government, okay, the big guys in D.C., the balance of power goes this way. Right now, the Democrats control the White House, Joe Biden, both houses of Congress. Okay, so Democrats control the Senate and the Congress. So they control all of government right now. Even though in the Senate, it's a split House, which means 50% Republican, 50% Democrats. The tie-breaking vote goes to Kamala Harris, who's the vice president. I know, is this getting wonky? I know a lot about politics. I really do. I was in politics. I know. So Once again, back to the Senate, 50-50. Kamala Harris, who's the vice president, breaks the tie. So the Democrats, for all intent and purposes, have 51-50. So basically, if they want to get anything done, they just have to say yes, and they'll get it done. The way the voting is right now, 75% of the people say that the country is in the wrong direction. It's going the wrong direction. We've got high unemployment, or we've got high inflation, high prices. Energy is just, we don't have any energy anymore. Even though we were energy independent 2 years ago, now we're dependent. Joe Biden, the first thing he did when he got into office was to cancel the Keystone Pipeline, and he basically told everybody when he was on the campaign trail that he was going to end the fossil fuel industry, and we were going to go electric if it was up to him. We were going to push through the Green New Deal, and whether you liked it or not, whether it was the will of the people or not, that's what his policy was. And as a result of that, folks, this has been a cascading effect. So here, I'm going to explain this, and then we'll go back to the voting. Okay, this will be the only time you'll hear me talk at this length on voting or on politics. This is the way economies run. Okay, is if you I'll tell you why your prices went up so much. When you've everything that we get, folks, from milk, eggs, poultry, whatever it is, comes by truck. Okay, it goes from truck all over the world, all over the nation. The trucking industry controls pretty much our distribution of all the goods. And if you bring up the price of the fuel that it takes to get your goods and services to you, the price on everything goes up. And it's a cascading effect. So if you tighten fuel prices and you destroy an economy that is based upon fuel, guess what happens? Everything's affected. So your gas prices at the pump are up. Yes, they are. Okay. 2 years ago, it was $2 and what, 35 cents, $2.40, something like that. Now here in the state of Nevada, I just checked before I got here. The lowest price I saw was $4.65. Okay, that's $2 more a gallon at the pump. Diesel prices are closer to $5.65. That's the lowest it's been in the longest time, and that's because the president, Joe Biden, has gone to the strategic oil reserves and has been selling our emergency supply of fuel to everybody in the world to try to bring the price down because of the election. It's really the only reason why he did it, because he didn't want to do that. He's basically said, "I'm going to declare war on the fossil fuel industry." So that means gas, coal, liquid gas, that kind of stuff. Fracking. He wants it all gone to make everybody go electric. So, and I got a question on that too, and let me write down a note on that, because if I don't, I'll forget all about it. So, as I was saying, it's a cascading effect for everything, folks, when you mess with fuel prices. So, the country basically was asked a question. They said, hey, I got to write this note down really quick. Rental cars. The country was asked a question: right track, wrong track. Is the country going in the right direction or in the wrong direction? And the country said we're going in the wrong direction. 75% of people said we're going the wrong direction. Add on to that an open door immigration policy. Okay, so we got a trifecta of bad things going on in the United States, and people are just living paycheck to paycheck. One lady said, "You know what? I'm so upset because I got used to a standard of living, as you should. If you've worked all your life, and you should be getting used to a standard of living." And she says, "Now I can't go out to eat. I can't buy the food I want. I can't do this. I can't do that. Blah blah blah." So the country's in the wrong direction. So you would think, election-wise, what has been predicted was that there was going to be a red wave. And that means that the Republicans were going to be swept into office because people are basically saying, look, we're sick and tired of this. We're tired of high fuel prices. We're tired of couple of million people coming. There's almost 3 million illegal aliens coming across our border, and they're just going all over the world, all over America. So you would think that people would say, we're done with this. We're done with this, all this craziness. So let's take a look. So with all of that in mind, plus all the other and sundry things that are going on in America, and we won't talk about those right now. But suffice it to say, people are very upset at what's going on in the United States. So when we come back, let's talk about the election here in the state of Nevada, specifically in Clark County, and what has happened in the last 24 hours, okay? So we'll be back in just a minute, folks. This is Sherman Ray. This is the Livin in Vegas podcast, where we're talking about politics today. Oh, I love it. We'll be back in a second. Hi, everybody. It's Sherman Ray for Livin in Vegas podcast. Are you a business owner that's looking to get the word out about his product, service, or even just a great message out there? Well, we'd like to give you that opportunity by being a guest on Livin in Vegas podcast. It's super simple. All you got to do is contact us at advertising@livininvegas.com. That's advertising@livininvegas.com, and we'll schedule you for an interview on Livin in Vegas podcast. I'm Sherman Ray for Livin in Vegas podcast, where we talk about the people, the places, the trends, and the events that shape the city of Las Vegas. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. All right. And we are back, folks. This is Sherman Ray. This is the Livin in Vegas podcast, where we talk about the people, the places, the trends, and the events that shape the city of Las Vegas, folks. A lot of stuff going on, folks. I mean, a lot of stuff. And we've been talking today about, of course, politics. So you may not be getting any more mail in any of this junk mail. I'll tell you. I bet you if you collected all the stuff you got, all the political mail that you got over the last couple of months, I have a stack probably this big, just a huge stack of stuff. So even though the election is over, it's still going on, folks, because we don't have finals. We don't have the final tallies yet. We're gonna get them pretty quick, but we just don't have them yet. And we've been talking about the election, which happened yesterday here in the state of Nevada, and kind of a recap of where this country is right now. And let's get into some of the nitty-gritty that's going on. As we said, here in the state of Nevada, we had elections that people were up for office from the governor's mansion down to the school board. Okay, we've got them all in between, plus county commissioners, that kind of stuff too. So let's take a recap of what is going on right now. So far, in the governor's race, Steve Sisolak is losing right now, okay? Which means Joe Lombardo is winning. And I think the last time I checked, and let me get back on, because there's actually a page that actually has, I'm going to double check here. So you can get there it is. So we've got some election results on one of the, we'll post this too, folks. So right now, the balance of power right now is actually, it's 49%. But in the national election, so in the House, which is the Senate, it's right now, it's 49 seats, or 48, they say, and 48, but it's actually 49. And in the Congress, 200 for the Republicans, 174 for the Democrats. So it looks like in Congress that the Republicans are probably going to take control of the congressional House. Okay, it only needs 218 seats to win that, to take control of that, and it looks like the Republicans are well on their way to do that, which means Nancy Pelosi is probably going to lose her job. And in the Senate, it looks like it won't be split between Mitch McConnell and Chuck Schumer. Probably Mitch McConnell, Republican, will probably become the Speaker of the House, and they'll basically, you'll have gridlock in Washington, D.C., which everybody's really excited about. They're saying, look, you won't be able to do anything else anymore, Joe Biden. You won't be able to screw us anymore. Oh, you won't be able to. Those are the words of, and I'm sorry, I apologize for saying that, folks. Those are the words from the co-founder of Home Depot. The co-founder of Home Depot basically called Joe Biden an idiot. And he goes, look, I don't know what that guy's doing, but he's just screwing up this country. And he should have never been elected. So those are not my words. Those are words of one of the founders, the co-founders of Home Depot. Who knows better? But here in the state of Nevada, let's look at the governor's race. I'm gonna go through this right now. Governor's election right now in the state of Nevada. Joe Lombardo is up 50 to 45%. He's 50.5%, and they're probably going to call this race here pretty quick because he's over 50%. So that's the governor's race. U.S. Senate race. Let's go to the House race. The House race in the state of Nevada. Dina Titus, she's at 50.26% over Mark Robertson. They still have a little bit ways to go. So she's just a little over 50%. It's really not enough to call. So you still have a little bit to go. Mark Amadei, who is CD2, he is at 63. They called that race already. So he crushed it. District 3, Susie Lee is just a little bit over April Becker, 50.39 to 49.61. District 4, that's down here in Nevada again. Stephen Horsford, they're going to probably call that pretty soon because he's at 51.55% over Sam Peters. And that was all we had for the Senate, for the congressional seat. Let's go to the Senate side, okay? Over in the Senate side, and remember, a lot of us knew that this is the big race between Catherine Cortez Masto and Adam Laxalt. This is a big race. Everybody's been looking at this. It's been in the news for, forever. I mean, it really has been. This has been one of those big races. And so Catherine Cortez Masto is the incumbent. She is losing 47.17 to Adam Laxalt, who's at almost 50%. So he's at 49.88% for the U.S. Senate, and that's we only have 2 Senate seats. So that's and here's the thing about it is we actually had 1, 2, 3 other candidates in this race. Okay, in the Senate race, there was a Barry Lyndon, who it doesn't even have what he is. So who knows what he's just a third-party candidate, fourth-party candidate. Neil Scott, who's a libertarian, and then Barry Rubinson, who's an independent. And each one of those guys, so between those 3 guys, they had 15,000 votes. Less than 1%, of all of the, well, a little over 1%. And they literally are the difference in this race right now because people decided they wanted to vote Libertarian or Independent American Party. And the Independent, I mean, they got nothing. So, all right, so that's where we're at in those. We won't go through all the rest of the races, folks, but we do have quite a few races that are out there outstanding. I will say this, that Stavros Anthony, who I love to death, I've known Stavros for many years now, it looks like Stavros is going to do, it looks like he's going to win that one too. So he's over Elizabeth Cano Burkhead, Democrat. Stavros, 51.17%. They probably should call that race here pretty quick. And once again, folks, you've got a bunch of people who are independent libertarians who are just sucking the air out of, they're just, I don't know why they're. So, let's talk about another race. Secretary of State Jim Marchant looks like he is going to hold on to win that race. The Attorney General race, Sigal Chattah, she looks like she's going to go to defeat over Aaron Ford. Aaron Ford is the incumbent in that race. State Controller, looks like Andy Matthews is. They should call that race. He's at 51%. In a tight race, folks, the State Treasurer's race, Michelle Fiore is still beating Zach Conan, who's the incumbent. She's at 47.5%. He's at 46, a little over 46.25. And then it goes down. So we talk about State Senate, Joey Paulos, and who I just met a couple weeks ago at a forum. it looks like Joey's going to win that one. Very cool. And he's going to upset Maryland Dondero Loop. They're over in Senate District 8. So there's a lot of great races there, folks. I don't think we got the Secretary. I did say the Secretary of State, didn't I? I did. Okay, so a lot of other races in there, folks. So anyways, here in the state of Nevada, folks, and we're going to leave a link to this website where you can actually get some of these updates, folks. It's very, very enlightening to check all these out. County offices, state offices, judges' office, the ballot initiatives, folks. Before I leave, let's talk about the ballot initiatives. The ballot initiatives look like they're all going to pass. Now, here's the thing about these ballot initiatives that I think you all need to know. All of these are a change in our state constitution. This is important. That if you change our state constitution, folks, you are doing a huge thing. And a lot of people don't understand that when you change our state constitution, it has to change it back is not like, oh, you just go to the election and you just, vote over it. It takes 2 election cycles for something like that to change. And one of them, they call it the Equal Rights Initiative. And basically what that is basically saying is that boys can go now into girls' locker rooms and, and then say they're a girl, and they're going to say that's okay. Another one is, and that's ballot question number 1, I believe. The next one is an increase of the minimum wage, and that has been going on for a couple of years now. And now they're going to, and that's once again, it's a constitutional thing where they're going to raise the minimum wage. I have nothing against the minimum wage at all, or you wanting to have a minimum wage, but now you've put it into our state constitution, and you're basically telling anybody who comes into the state of Nevada, if you come in here as a business person, this is what you're going to have to adhere to, which makes it almost like California, which means you're probably going to crush our business economy, and it's un-American. Okay, I'm just going to say this. Because America, you shouldn't tell a business owner what he should or shouldn't pay somebody. It's his business. He should be able to pay him whatever. The last one is the ranked choice voting. This is probably the most egregious of all of them, folks. Now, this is... The ranked choice voting basically is saying that it doesn't matter who is running, Republican or Democrat, independent or whatever, the 2 top vote getters are going to be the ones who are going to go through to the general election. So if it's 2 Democrats, that's it. If it's 2 independents, that's it. If it's 2 Republicans, that's it. This is going to guarantee, you mark my words, that Democrats hold office in perpetuity. Okay, because there's more Democrats registered to vote in the state of Nevada, and especially here in Clark County, than there is any other political party. This, to me, is a ploy and a end around by the Democrat Party to ensure that they hold power in the state of Nevada in perpetuity. And people voted for that. They said yes. That's once again, they already did this up in Alaska, and it showed how flawed a system this is. And I think people are going to look back on this and go, oh my gosh, what did we do? Because if you're an independent, you'll never get somebody in office ever. If you're a libertarian, you'll never get anybody because there's not enough of you. There's just not enough of you to ever, get you in office. And it might impact the Republican Party because if, let's say, 2 Democrats are the 2 high vote getters, that means any Republican representation is gone. That's the dirty little secret. Anyways, folks, we're done. We'll see you again Friday. We'll give you more updates. This has been the political show for the Livin in Vegas podcast. You never know. We might do another one Friday. Let's talk about it again. We'll talk to you later, folks. Bye-bye.